Astrology is so personal. We are about to get personal, you guys. Okay, as you could see by the thumbnail, I need donors. I need you guys' help. Venus in retrograde is about to end. We're about to go through a process of integration and learning and planning. Namaste, Venus lovers. It's Dr. Danny, physician, astrologer. Venus is about to complete a retrograde transit. So if you guys have been following my work, you know that I am watching, downloading, and transmitting the astronomical and astrological energies of Venus as she moves through her 20-month synodic cycle. You guys, we're about to complete this wave of energy that only happens about every 8 years. This is the inferior conjunction of planet Venus and the sun in Leo. It's called a Leo Venus star point. Venus does a star point like this, an inferior conjunction, like I said, about every 20 months. But she only does it in the same constellation every 8 years. So this past Leo Venus star point has been very impactful. The last two times that I can recall going through this phenomenon, I was not following the astrology. And there were some very, very transformative energies. And I wasn't watching the sky. I wasn't watching my chart. I was blindly stepping through very powerful energy, utterly unprepared. Okay. So many of you have had your Venus star point read and your Venus retrograde energy read, one or the other or both, either through a recorded transit reading that you've downloaded or through the PDF report. My intention with these reports was to help you guys get ready for this energy so that you could step through it gracefully and prepared. And hopefully the rest of you watched my YouTube videos about the Venus retrograde energy and were able to navigate some of these energies. And also, I've gotten some really incredible feedback from you guys. I've been receiving emails from you and instant messages through Facebook and on my cell phone and email. Basically, grateful and excited to work with me on these energies. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate y'all's wonderful feedback. Now, what I want to do is I want us, you and me, to come together. I want to share with you how my experience went, and I want you to share it with me. So before I get into what I want to offer you guys, I'm just going to go ahead and share. I mean, we're gonna get personal here. In retrospect, there are 4 big lessons that I worked through during the 40 days and 40 nights of this Venus retrograde transit. The first one was trusting my creative process. The second one was owning what I've manifested, the work surrounding that manifestation, the discovery of my power, of my true Venus power. And this was accomplished through a deprogramming process. And I'll go into that in a little bit. And then also a deepening of my family bonds. So those 4 energies were huge for me. And then I had 2 bonus celestial energies. One was my solar return on August 4th, and then my Chiron return. And with menopause and everything that comes with it. So let's go ahead and I'm going to share my screen with you and we can go into some of this. Let's close this. Move my face out of the way. So if any of you guys have gotten a transit reading with me, you will recognize this screen right now. But for those of you that haven't, let me just kind of go over this with you. This is generated through Capricorn Prometheus astrology software. You can download this at masteringzodiac.com. But essentially what I've done is I've set up a predictive transit grid from time frame July 22nd to September 4th, which is the 40 days and 40 nights of the Venus retrograde transit. I have used my natal information, and then what I've done is I have sorted the transiting planets and what they're doing to my natal planets, to my natal luminaries. So here you can see Venus is stationing retrograde, and at the end, she stations direct over here. So basically, this is my personal transit reading based on my natal chart, which is right here. Oops, can't see it that way. At any rate, my inner birth wheel is right here, and the sky is right here. So as we move our cursor through the transits, you're going to see the outer wheel move around, and you're going to see the aspect lines shift and change as the current luminaries and planets in the sky move around the birth wheel. Okay, and so what we're looking for specifically is, what is Venus doing to my natal energy? But I can also sort this to look at what the current energy was doing to my natal Venus. Hold on, let me sort this by point to you. So there you go. So there's my natal Venus, and you can see Mercury and Mars formed a sextile to it, sort of around the star point. Okay, so that's how I do my transit readings for you guys. So if you order a Venus transit reading, a predictive reading from me, a recorded reading, we'll go through your transit grid in a similar fashion. One of the first things I noticed, in particularly about my transits, and a lot of you guys too, is that Venus is making a lot of contact to not only our collective north and south node, but also to a lot of our personal north and south nodes. So there was a lot of really interesting evolutionary path type energy in the readings that I've done for you guys, and particularly for me. One of the things that I noticed right before the Venus retrograde started was that I was full of this fiery, hot energy. There was just so much that was coming in, and there was so much energy that I had to get things done. And then all of a sudden, as soon as she went retrograde, my physical energy, my ability to literally keep my eyes open and my head up went way, 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 way down. So I had a little bit of energy every morning to sort of be creative and burst and work through and plan promotions and creative content that I wanted to get ready for you guys. But towards the end of the day, the afternoon and the end of the day, all I could do is just kind of lay there and zone out. And when I literally let myself do that, it was somewhat rejuvenating. And I got the most creative ideas. So literally the only energy I had was to kind of just write down a few bullet points and then get through the next day. And this pretty much happened all the way up until my solar return, which was August 4th, right here. So these 2 weeks here were just stunningly difficult. I also went through, oh gosh, I don't even know how to describe it. It was an energy where, like, I felt like I had to change everything. You know how when you walk into your closet and you realize you just hate everything that you have and you have nothing to wear, you basically want to just empty it out and burn it all and start over. That is kind of the energy that I felt towards my work. Okay. And I was literally 30 seconds from pulling the trigger, changing everything, giving up my clinical practice, simply offering what I know and what I do as a service for hire, and then focusing more on my astrology work. But then something very interesting happened. Right before my birthday, I basically sat with it a little bit, and I said, wait a second, why do I want to make this change? More importantly, what am I grateful for? How will this change that? And I came to the conclusion that everything was perfect, that I didn't really necessarily have to. But what I realized was that I did have the power. Okay. So that was incredibly huge for me to actually go, okay, God, I am not in a position where I have to do anything, but I can if I want to. And I'm perfect the way I am. And we can change things up a little bit if we have to. I can own myself, own what I'm doing, and just see how it goes. So it's actually, instead of being a traumatic wave of energy for me, like I had anticipated months ago, in retrospect and reflecting on my previous Venus retrograde Leo energies, from 8 years ago, 16 years ago, and beyond. I I literally came to the conclusion that I don't have to do anything right now. I can just kind of sit on this energy and see what happens. Okay. And I blame a lot of this on Uranus because Uranus was doing a lot of things to my chart, if you can see. Also, to the collective Venus, there was a square with Uranus. And that to me felt like a temptation to change things where you didn't necessarily have to do that. And so the other thing that I was able to do was, and this is because of Saturn, is sort of own what I had already manifested. And instead of destroying it and to change it all up and to start all over, is to basically use what I have and implement that energy moving forward. So I hope that makes sense. Then the next energy was a deprogramming kind of an energy. And this happened sort of after my birthday, after I got home from a trip with my family, which I'll talk about in a minute. Actually, let me talk about that because that's pretty important. If you guys watched my personal story of Venus Leo retrograde, you'll know that my mother and I went through a tremendous shift in our relationship because of things that had happened to her 8 years ago. I had this image of my mother as this perfect, untouchable person that, you know, like I'm a doctor. What else do I have to do for you to love me and to respect me and to, realize I'm, I'm worthy. And it didn't come from her. It came from me. It came from my shift. It came from my realization that my mother was just a flawed human, just like the rest of us, doing the best she could with what she had. And by having that shift in perspective, the relationship that we have now and has been ongoing for the last couple of years has been absolutely incredible. I enjoy talking with my mother. It's like a relationship that I've always wanted with her, but it wasn't her fault. It was mine, you know? And so during my birthday, we traveled to meet with my family and we had almost like a family reunion. I mean, all my brothers were there. My mom and dad were there. It was right around uh, wedding anniversary, their 50th wedding anniversary, so it was just really nice to get everybody back together. And so that to me is a very Venus energy. That to me is very fourth house. And as you can see, I have Leo spanning my third and fourth house. And so the last thing I want to talk about is the deprogramming, because this is where you actually discover your power. Okay. And this happened a little bit after my birthday, right around the culmination of the Venus star point and afterwards. And I've just been sitting with this energy and it's been really, really incredible. So now you can see Venus is over my third house. And for me, third house Gemini energy is all about the programming. We talk a lot about this in our astrology group about, you know, the attachments people have and the beliefs that they have. It's all associated with your deepest subconscious programming, you know, like, and some of it's good, don't get me wrong. Like the deep subconscious programming that we have is important so that we can interact politely and kindly as humans. But some of it is utterly inappropriate. And it comes from our media, and it comes from our internet, and it comes from everything that we expose ourselves to. And so I was doing a lot of deep meditation. I was sitting with myself, a lot of deprogramming. And what that helped me do, because of this Chiron return that I'm experiencing, I'm hearing all of these old wounds coming up. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. How dare you call yourself an expert? People are just going to shun you. You're going to be abandoned. You're going to be banished. And these are ancestral wounds. These are wounds of childhood. These are wounds of the inappropriate programming. And so I was able to detangle some of that, especially as Mercury was began its retrograde motion. So these are all very, very big energies that I've been dealing with. And what was so incredible, so unique about it is that so far, knock on wood, I've been managing it much better than I did 8 years past, 16 years past, and etc. So to me, understanding the astrology, going back and looking at these energies has been a very healing experience for me. And this makes me want to work with you guys. I want to know what you went through. I want to know about 8 years ago, 16 years ago, and how this particular time frame was a little bit different for you. If you did have some tough experiences, I want to know about it. I want to know what you did with it. I want to know where your astrological energy was so that we can pinpoint that and look forward. Okay. So what I'm offering, this was actually going to be, this actually was part of the Venus level up package that I offered you guys prior to Venus going into retrograde. So basically, I'm looking to you guys as donors. This call normally is $147 because I've got to read your Venus energy, your Venus focused birth chart. I've got to look at the 8 weeks of Venus in retrograde and see what kind of big points were happening to you. And then we have to spend an hour together. So, but those that ordered the package, they're getting that call for free. Other people that you if you've gotten the Venus star point, you also are getting a deal. But what I want to do with people that maybe haven't worked with me is to work with me. Okay. I want to know what happened to you. And I want this call to be affordable for you because you're also helping me. So all I need from you is a $77 donation and an hour of your time. What this will do is I'm going to give you insight into how the retrograde affected your relationships, your creative process, your values, your pursuits, your family relationships. And then I will show you what's in store for the Venus direct energy, which is just a few weeks of September until we get into October. And there'll be a different energy that we're going to work with after that. But I want to prepare you guys for the eclipse season. This is going to be big. And so if we do some Venus retrograde integration work together, I think this will be really big. I think it'll help both of us contribute to the collective knowledge of the cosmological age that we are entering into. So this is a call to action to you guys. I want you to get up in the morning, look in the eastern sky right before dawn, and watch Venus. She's going to go very, very quickly to her maximum elongation. So you will be able to see the morning star Venus, the powerful action, inspired action Venus. Okay, you're going to see her in the morning. And then what I want you to do is I want you to schedule this call with me. I promise you, you guys are going to love this energy. So normally 147, all I want is a $77 donation, and you and I will work together. Okay, so I'm going to leave this link in the description of this video, in the comments below, on my Facebook. If you're on my email list, you will get a link to this as well. Please take advantage of this. I have limited spots because I don't do this full time every single day, but I really, really am interested in how it all went for you guys because I'm fascinated with the way that I was able to manage these energies just because I knew the astrology that was coming for me. Okay, guys. So I will send you this link. In the meantime, do me a favor. Please come and follow my Facebook page, Dr. Danny, Physician Astrologer. Okay. All right, y'all. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to speaking with you. Namaste.